it's more like a script rather than a prepared speech. But okay, so I've seen quite a few of you around, as I've been to a few meetings now. So rather than give you a live run through, I thought I'd tell you a story about me, as I believe life is a mixture of stories that create who we are. So some background on me: I was born in the 80s. For the mathematicians amongst you, you now know that must make me, around my 30s, as if my 30s face didn't give that away. The 80s, the summers were long, the winters were cold, and we were so poor, we'd huddle around a light bulb to keep warm, and if it got really cold, we'd turn it on. So one of the chief characters in many of my stories growing up is my mum, which I'm sure is the same for most people. So a super brief history of my mum is, she was born in Curacao in the Dutch West Indies, and for the linguists amongst you, that's geography and perhaps historic geopolitics, but I digress. It's on the first generation of my family, on my mum's side at least, to be born and raised in the UK rather than the Caribbean. The point of this information will soon become apparent. My relationship with my mum while growing up was a lot like the old Tom and Jerry cartoons with the cat chasing the mouse. I was industrious and mischievous, which my mum was constantly trying to stop turning into anything that got me into trouble. She did a good job with a mixture of her wisdom and, for legal reasons, let's call it a Caribbean attitude adjustment program. I let that sink in. She was stern and scary sometimes because she had to be. Because she had to be. Think if Mike Tyson had an older sister. And I was cunning and creative. Think Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, but brown and poor, and without any of his good toys. Get them back. So this story occurs when we're around 12 to 13. At this point, I'm obviously going to school, but I also had weekend jobs and after-school paper rounds, that type of thing. So to set the scene, it's a Saturday afternoon in summer in the early 90s. I have a stylish afro, which I appreciate is totally the wrong decade, but life is still living. I can't believe we're early. I think to myself, I'm 13, I'm earning good money, 25 to 30 pounds a week with zero outgoings, balling. So I should begin the process of getting myself a wife, or at least some type of Saved by the Bell childhood sweetheart, and get this show on the road. On this particular day, it's the first Heineken festival, which was a big music festival at Roundy Park. I look at my friends playing football and marbles in the sun on the grass and decide at that moment to put childish things away and go and claim my manhood. Okay, so no big deal, apart from I was grounded and supposed to be staying in the area. By area, I mean the street, and for my mum, the street meant the playing field outside my house. And this is the time before being able to track people on iPhones or ankle tags. So my mum used what would now be considered vintage knock on the window to let me know if it was time to come in. I look at my friends, decide to make my move, but before I go, I tell one of my friends, Clifford, real name, about my plans, how much of a playboy I am, how many girls will be at the Heineken festival, and sprinkled in a few lies about girls I'd already arranged to meet. Don't judge me, I'm around 12 or 13 at this point. So I made my way down to Roundy Road, which for those of you who don't know, is one of the main vein roads in Leeds, essentially connecting Haredales to the Roundy area. I wait for the double-decker bus. It's busier than usual. As you can imagine, lots of people are going to the festival. The double-decker comes. As always, I immediately go upstairs to the back, which now I'm older is puzzling because it's the furthest place where you need to be to get off. So, it's true, innit? I digress. Just get older. So I'm at the back of the bus. I bump into my older friend Tristan with his girlfriend and begin telling him about the girls I'm going to meet and essentially how player I am. Suddenly, the bus lurches to the left, brakes hard and throws me into the seat in front, banging my mouth on the handrail at the top. Everyone's looking around in shock, and then I hear a sound that I'd heard before but could not believe it. I feel as though my body is going into shock as I hear muffled shouting. And then I see that my fear is confirmed as my mum's head is looking into the top deck of the bus and she's shouting something which I cannot remember, as at this point I'm filled with adrenaline, shock and sadness. My feet just tip towards her. I don't even look at Tristan but feel everyone's eyes on me. It's one of those situations where everyone's scared and quiet. Imagine a pit bull walked in here, how quiet you'd be while you all stood in your chair. That type of quiet. My mum grabs me by the ear, calls me a good-for-nothing scamp, and takes me off the bus. Behind me, as I step off, as my senses return, I hear a baby crying and someone slow clapping. I'm still trying to figure out what's happened, and then I see my mum's gold Austin Maestro diagonally blocking the bus in. I look back to see traffic backed up and realise that she has brought the bus to what I believe is known in traffic police terms as a hard stop. And then Bruce Willis, John McClane, Die Hard style, commandeered the bus and extracted me like a one-woman army. I tried to hide my face as much as possible and get in the front seat. My mum says, "No, get in the back." So I get in the back, as if getting in the gold Maestro isn't punishment enough. I get the full prisoner treatment. On the way home, I managed to decipher through the shouting that my old friend Clifford spilled the beans to my mum, and she gets down to Roundy Road just in time to see the bus. We get to my street, pull in the drive, and all my friends are there just smiling and laughing. My mum has to open the back doors to let me out like a baby because of child locks for my sister. And I am paraded like a captured Mexican drug lord before being taken back into the Caribbean Attitude Adjustment Program with my mini afro just wilting from stress. The whole experience taught me three things. Two things at the time and one thing quite recently. Don't ever monologue like you're a baddie in a James Bond film and tell people your whole plan. It will not end well. Do not trust anyone called Clifford. You need to eliminate them from your life immediately before they do you like my Clifford did me. The third thing I learned quite recently when I asked my mum about what happened and whether she felt guilty about the Die Hard style tactics she used. She paused for a moment, laughed and responded, "Guilty's for the weak." Real. This is all real. Guilty's for the weak. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my Heineken Schmeineken icebreaker story. Thanks for listening.